5 Most Mysterious Books. Number 1. The Rohan Code. In 1838, a Hungarian prince named Gustavo Bethanyani donated his very old family library to the Hungarian Academy of Science, along with the book named the Rohan Codex. There was another book called the Book of Tarek, which hinted at the old history of the Hungarian people. The researchers at the Rohan Codex did a lot of study and debates. Written in 792 different characters, this book is like a complex puzzle. Some readers believe that it used the Old Hungarian, Dacian, Romanian, and Hindi languages. Many of its symbols match the figures carved in the caves thousands of years ago. It's not understood till date whether this book should be read from left to right or from top to bottom. The images on it are also very strange, and it looks as if it's related to some religious symbols, including Bible prayers, stories, and people fighting against the Hungarian people in the 11th and 12th centuries. Till date, it is not known who has written this book, why, and how. Number 2. Codex Seraphinanius. This weird book named the Codex Seraphinanius is written by Luigi Serafini, who was an architect and industrial designer. It's written in a language that does not exist. This book is full of pictures of strange animals and plants. The method of performing many kinds of rituals is described in this book. It seems that the book is some kind of art project in which the author wants to introduce the readers to a very new world and its new reality. Although this book looks very old, it was originally written in 1980 and also available on Amazon. Number 3. The Book of Soy. In 1500, a scholar named John Dee, who worked as a mathematician with Queen Elizabeth in England, also believed in superstitions like black magic. In addition to the calculations pertaining to planetary constellations, John Dee was fond of talking to invisible powers. John wanted to build the National Library of England during that time, but Queen Elizabeth denied his request. He himself built a library for himself which had a collection of over 3,000 books, including the Book of Soy. It was of the 15th century and contained information about magic, strange spells, counting of stars, devils, etc., written in a very complex language. This book can still be translated except for the 36 pages that contain the table of 36 rows and 36 columns that collect around 46,000 Latin characters. John Dee believed that this 36-page table is the key to unlocking this book. These are all codes with which we can talk to Uriel, who are archangels. As per the beliefs of Christianity, Uriels believed that the only person who has unlocked this book is Archangel Michael, and that if anyone other than him breaks the codes of this book, he will die within 2 to 3 years. When John Dee was away from the city, some miscreants broke his library and his book disappeared for 500 years. But it reappeared again in 1994 in the British Library. In 2006, Jim Reeves, a cryptologist and mathematician from Preston, claimed to have broken these codes and is still alive. There are also translations of this book. Number 4. The Vivian Girl Story. In 1971, a man named Nathan Lagan was a landlord in a town in Chicago. His oldest tenant was Henry Darzer, who lived in his house in 1930. Henry was unwell and alone at the time. While cleaning his house in 1971, Nathan was surprised to see thousands of pages and drawings scattered all over the room. On collecting all these in a series, a complete book was formed. The title of the book was The Story of the Vivian Girls. The book was 15,145 pages, with 15 volumes filled with thousands of pictures. Some of the illustrations were interlinked and were about 30 feet long. Henry had these pictures cut from the magazines and the newspapers. The cardboard cutting art style became very popular after he died. He wrote a detailed mythology, which took him more than 60 years to write. It was about a moon-like planet that the Earth revolves around. The main characters of this mythology are the 7 Vivian sisters, who are the daughters of Robert Vivian, the ruler of the Christian country of Albania. He opposes a civilization that keeps children enslaved. It is the largest book in the world and was written secretly. The world came to know about this book only after the author's death. It was believed that Henry was undergoing a mental condition, and he had to spend several days in mental asylum during his youth, but he escaped from there in 1908. Some intellectuals say that Henry's obsession with writing this book began when an accident in 1911 left an 11-year-old girl dead, which had a serious impact on Henry's mind. And since then, he had separated himself from the world, and during that time, he must have written this book too. Number 5. Thevoynich Manuscript. This book was written in the 15th century on pages made of vellum, that's animal skins. The struggle to understand this book started in 1655. In 1912, it was published officially. The book was named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who published it. The manuscript written on it ranges from 1404 to 1438. This book has 240 pages, and the language as well as pictures in it are absolutely weird. During World War II, a very genius Japanese code breaker tried to decode its language but failed. In it, some letters appearing at the beginning of words, and some start from the middle. It also contains strange images of tree plants and some planetary constellations with female drawings. The ink used to write it is of very high quality, and some special people could have used such ink at that time. Some researchers claimed that this book may have been written by Leonardo da Vinci during his youth, but this has no evidence. Based on the planets, constellations, zodiac signs, herbs, plants, and medical things, it is also believed that this book would have been written for a medical treatment. This was all about today's video. Please like, share, and comment below. Thank you for watching.